Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 293 based on novel. So let's start. Large amounts of cultivators had gathered outside the East Demon Spirit Sea, waiting for it to open. When Ling Qianhu heard the man in purple, there was a flash of ecstasy in his eyes. However, he didn't ask more. He occupied a position once he got close and looked at the vortex below him. When no more people arrived, Ling Qianhu frowned. He withdrew his gaze and looked into the distance. Not just him, even the old man on the gourd frowned as well. He looked into the void as if he was waiting for something. Only the All-Seer remained neutral as he quietly waited. Time slowly passed, and the cultivators waiting around gradually began to talk. Some of the well-informed ones know what was going on, but most didn't. They were all confused about what these powerful cultivators were waiting for. Just as the chatter got louder, the All-Seer suddenly raised in his head and looked into the distance. He revealed a look of intrigue. "He's here." Several breaths after the All-Seer noticed something, the man in purple also looked into the distance. He had already heard everything about Wang Lin from Ling Qianhu. He somewhat admired Wang Lin in his heart. Someone who has been able to last against the All-Seer for this long is definitely not weak. After the man in purple, it was Ling Qianhu, the old man on the gourd, the beautiful middle-aged woman, and the man in black who no one dared to approach. The four of them looked into the distance at almost the same time. After them, it was the remaining old monsters and a few other cultivators. A strange whistling sound came from the distance, gradually catching everyone's attention. A moment later, the cultivators all gasped when they saw the shocking scene before them. A giant more than 1,000 feet tall was rushing toward here. Giant Demon Clan Mount? Someone in the crowd immediately recognized this giant. This isn't an ordinary Giant Demon Clan member. Look at the mark between his eyebrows, he is a royal bloodline Giant Demon Clan member. There were many well-informed cultivators waiting outside the East Demon Spirit, and they immediately recognized Lei Ji's identity. It must be a powerful cultivator for him to own a Giant Demon Clan mount. I just don't know who he is. This 1,000-foot Giant Demon Clan member can clearly already use his bloodline ability. That makes the mount itself very powerful. A cultivator that can sit on it is not simple. Not necessarily. Perhaps this person has a good relationship with the Giant Demon Clan. And his actual cultivation isn't too powerful. The appearance of the Giant Demon Clan mount set off a huge wave among the surrounding cultivators, and they began to chatter. When the Giant Demon Clan mount closed in, people were able to see who was riding it. Just one glance made them all gasp. At first they were able to see 4 people on the Giant Demon Clan mount's back. All 4 of them were famous around planet Qianyun. The 3 Chen brothers. The 3 Chen brothers are all at the Nirvana Scryer stage, and they always move together. They often attack at once, so even a late-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator would have a headache dealing with them. Why are the 3 of them on this Giant Demon Clan mount? Could this mount belong to the 3 of them? There is also that big-headed cultivator next to them. That person is unfamiliar, but he is also at the Nirvana Scryer stage. For Nirvana Scryer cultivators, it has to be said that any one of them could set off a huge wave among the majority of cultivators here. There must be some secret behind them showing up together. When more and more cultivators clearly saw the people on the back of the Giant Demon Clan mount, the chattering stopped, and they were all shocked. Even Ling Qianhu and company were startled, and their eyes shined brightly. As Lei Ji got closer, they saw a red-robed elder behind the 3 Chen brothers and big head. His body was very large, as if he was a mountain of flesh, and was shocking to look at. His early-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivation spread out and shook the minds of everyone with lower cultivation levels. Master Hollow Wind. Master Hollow Wind was very famous around planet Qianyun. The moment he appeared, many people recognized him. Master Hollow Wind unexpectedly became Wang Lin's helper. The eyes of the old man on the gourd lit up ever so slightly. If it was only the 3 Chen brothers and the big-headed cultivator, they were no threat to him. However, Master Hollow Wind was different. Beside Master Hollowwind was a beautiful woman, and her eyes were filled with intelligence. Her aura was very fierce, as if it was a pair of scissors that could cut all divine sense extending toward them. Another early-stage Nirvana cleanser? The surrounding cultivators were in an uproar once more. However, not far behind the woman in silver, Sichu Nan's unruly figure and his sneer that belittled the world shocked the surrounding cultivators once more. A third Nirvana cleanser cultivator. I know this person. He just became famous recently on planet Qianyun. The Pink Palace's lord, Sichu Nan. The beautiful woman frowned and showed a look of disgust. Although she didn't live on planet Qianyun, she has heard of his notoriety. She couldn't understand why a powerful Nirvana cleanser cultivator would do such a thing. The All-Seer was calm as he looked at the people on the giant demon clan mount. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking. The shock the 3 Nirvana cleanser cultivators created was simply too big, far bigger than the 4 Nirvana scryer cultivators. 4 Nirvana scryer cultivators and 3 Nirvana cleanser old monsters. Just who has such connections to get these 7 to help? Lei Ji slowed down for a bit before Wang Lin's figure appeared before everyone. He wore a snow-white robe, his hair flowed in the air, and his gaze was indifferent. His eyes contained the sun and moon as he calmly stood between everyone. The gazes of all the cultivators gathered on him. The moment Wang Lin appeared, the star-marked sable on the shoulder of the purple-robed man suddenly raised its head, and there was a strange light in its intelligent eyes. Its body trembled, and just as it was about to move, Wang Lin looked over with a casual smile and clasped his hands at the man in purple. The man in purple smiled and nodded before placing his mind on the star-marked sable on his shoulder. He had raised this sable ever since it was small and really liked it. The star-marked sable's strange reaction just now had caught his attention. However, at this moment, the star-marked sable seemed to return to normal and showed no signs of abnormality. This made the purple-robed man feel somewhat confused. Wang Lin's expression didn't change under everyone's gazes as Lei Ji closed in. He clasped his hands at the All-Seer and company before he calmly said, "Greetings All-Seer, Sword Saint, and fellow seniors. There were some delays after obtaining the invitation, so I was a bit late." Ling Qianhu stared at Wang Lin, and there was a trace of dread in his eyes. He could never forget that ray of light. If it wasn't for the fact that he had escaped quickly and had speculated that the other ray of light had absorbed enough origin energy, he wouldn't be standing here today. The way he looked at Wang Lin had changed, and he didn't want to provoke Wang. He smiled and shook his head. "Fellow cultivator Wang is being polite. There is no need to call me senior, just call this old man Ling Qianhu." After he spoke, an uproar was set off among the cultivators. Looks of disbelief landed on Wang Lin. Ling Qianhu was a powerful cultivator whose fame was second only to the All-Seer. There were very few people worthy of being called fellow cultivator by him. At this moment, just this one fellow cultivator from Ling Qianhu shocked the minds of the surrounding cultivators. The All-Seer looked at Wang Lin. From beginning to end, his expression didn't change at all, as if the matter several months ago didn't occur. He nodded slightly and slowly said, "No harm." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he clasped his hands and greeted the old man on the gourd and the beautiful middle-aged woman. Then he smiled at the man in black in the distance and clasped his hands as a greeting. The man in black also clasped his hands at Wang Lin, but his expression was still cold. "Everyone is here, so let's open the East Demon Spirit Sea." The All-Seer waved his sleeves and 7 colored light gathered to form a token. This token was only the size of his palm, but it gave off a 7-colored glow. As everyone's vision was blurred by this bright glow, the token flew toward the vortex. This was not a normal opening of the East Demon Spirit Sea, so that powerful tide that pulls in treasures from everywhere wasn't present. Instead, as the token fell into the vortex, a reverse vortex appeared. This reverse vortex quickly expanded and a black hole opened up. The aura of the demon spirit land that Wang Lin was familiar with came out from within. By opening the 4 celestial caves, can the 5th cave be opened? This old man will go first and await the good news from everyone else. The All-Seer was covered in a 7-colored glow as he entered the black hole while standing on the trident. Wang Lin's gaze swept past the trident. He had already noticed the trident. The familiar aura coming from it made him certain that this was a treasure refined by Tu Sai. This was a treasure Tu Sai was very satisfied with, but unfortunately, no treasure spirit had formed. In order to perfect it, Tu Sai hid it in a planet and turned it into 3 mountains. He wanted to use the mountain spirit of the planet to form a treasure spirit for this trident. He planned to retrieve once he mastered the royal bloodline spell, but after he left, he never came back. When he saw the trident enter the black hole with the All-Seer, he felt melancholy. This melancholy came from the regret in Tu Sai's memories. Ling Qianhu and the man in purple turned into rays of light and turned toward the black hole. However, the two of them paused. Just as Wang Lin was preparing to enter the black hole, he suddenly turned around and looked into the stars. The old man on the black gourd and Sichu Nan were a step ahead of him as they looked into the distance. A ripple appeared, and an old man appeared from inside the ripple. In just one step, he arrived before everyone. Ling Qianhu and the man in purple quickly stopped. The man in purple revealed a look of respect and bowed. Sun Shan greets Grand Elder. Although Sun Shan was an elder, he was not a member of the Alliance Elder Group. At this moment, his respect came from the bottom of his heart. He obviously deeply respected the old man that had appeared. Junior greets Grand Elder. Ling Qianhu also revealed a respectful expression. With his personality, there weren't many people who he genuinely respected. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. The old man had merged with the world to move here. This old man also gave off an aura that shocked Wang Lin. This aura was very different from the All-Seer's. If the All-Seer was an unfathomable ocean, this old man was like a large mountain that pierced the heavens. His powerful aura spread out, causing those weaker cultivators to cough out blood and immediately retreat. Sichu Nan's eyes lit up and he muttered, "Nirvana Shatra." He pondered for a moment before he sneered. His eyes shined due to his arrogance and how he looked down on everything. If I want to have a good time in this world, I need a cultivation that can suppress the world. Nirvana Shatra. This old man has been too lazy. The old man wore a golden robe and his hair was half black and half white, and he was giving off an ancient aura. He looked at Ling Qianhu and revealed a smile of admiration. How long has it been since we last met? Ling Qianhu reminisced about the past and respectfully said, "Junior doesn't remember, it has been far too long." The golden-robed old man let out a sigh and slowly said, "When you and the All-Seer were qualified, I personally brought the two of you into the brilliant Void Holy Land. Now tens of thousands of years have passed. One of you has become an elder of the Alliance that even I dread, and the other's cultivation had also reached such a level." Ling Qianhu pondered, but the reminiscence in his eyes became even stronger. "When I received your jade a few months ago, I was debating if I should come. I didn't want to come, because the war with all heaven was getting serious and my senior brother, Zhong Xuanzi, can't make an avatar. However, considering what happened between you and the All-Seer, I decided to come to end the matter between the two of you." As the old man spoke, there was a hint of decisiveness and profoundness in his gaze. Ling Qianhu's mind trembled as he looked at the old man and said, "Thank you, Senior Master Void. Let's go. I have heard about this demon spirit land but haven't gone there before. Let's go and see." The old man waved his sleeves and looked at the beautiful middle-aged woman in the distance. His gaze revealed goodwill when he looked at the woman in pink, then he entered the black hole. Ling Qianhu and the purple-robed man followed him into the vortex. Wang Lin pondered a bit before his eyes lit up and he moved with Sichu Nan, followed by Master Hollow Wind and the woman in silver. Behind them were the 3 Chen brothers and Big Head. They all flew toward the vortex. Lei Ji's figure shrank until he was only a big fellow, and he followed everyone into the vortex. The old man sitting on the gourd and the cold man in black both entered the black hole. The beautiful middle-aged woman hesitated as she looked at the woman in pink next to her. The woman in pink smiled like a rose and softly said, "Anxia, you can relax for this trip to the demon spirit land. Shi Xian has a treasure gifted by senior sister, it is more than enough to keep myself safe. What's more, didn't second sister send Elder Master Void here as well?" The beautiful middle-aged woman pondered a bit and nodded. She then led the 4 women around her into the black hole. Qian Qin revealed a complex expression. When Wang Lin appeared, she was constantly looking at him. Now that she thought about how they would be in the demon spirit land together, she thought, I wonder if he still remembers me. After those people entered, the surrounding cultivators all rushed toward the black hole. However, there were too many people, and only some of them were able to get in before the black hole suddenly stopped its reverse rotation and disappeared. Some of the cultivators were only halfway into black hole when the vortex disappeared, so their bodies collapsed and their miserable screams echoed. This caused the cultivators behind them to quickly retreat. The black hole disappeared with a hint of blood. It was as if a large door had closed, preventing anyone from entering. The surrounding cultivators all scattered with regret. There were some that were reluctant and stayed for a few days before finally leaving. The East Demon Spirit Sea returned to its peaceful state. Inside the Demon Spirit Land, the fiery sun hung in the sky. The heat wave moved with the wind along the earth. The corpses on the ground smelled of decay, attracting many vultures that hovered over the corpses, absorbing the death aura. This was only a corner of the Fire Demon country. Looking at the entire country, it was covered in corpses. Under this heat wave, they decayed even faster, and the wind blew away their clothes, revealing the black skin underneath. A large war was spreading across the Fire Demon country as the Soul Refining tribe attacked. All of the powerful people scattered across the country fell. If they didn't surrender, they died. The capital of the Fire Demon country, where one of the 9 ancient demons once lived, was now the last force left. This place was occupied by one of the elite armies of the Fire Demon country. It was called the Fire Demon Spirit Army. They had 2 commander-in-chiefs and 8 demon generals holding the fort. Although the Fire Demon Spirit Army had suffered heavy losses, compared to the other forces, they were the most powerful. This allowed them occupy the capital and hold on to what remained of the Fire Demon country. At this moment, the army of the Soul Refining tribe surrounded the capital of the Fire Demon country. There were countless people floating in the sky with several big flags around them. A dense, black fog shrouded the area. The sharp cries from the soul fragments never ended and swept across the earth. The wailing of the mournful souls became the only sound left in the world. There was a stone statue within the Soul Refining tribe army outside the gates of the capital of the Fire Demon country. There were several tribe members carrying it. Those that were carrying the statue were filled with pride. For them to be picked out from the millions of tribe members to carry the ancestors' statue was glory that only came once in a lifetime. There was an old man in the sky filled with majesty. He wore a black robe and there were dozens of large flags beside him that formed a black whirlwind. Demon General Charming Wood and Golden Scorpion, are you two going to surrender? The old man's voice was like a blast of cold wind. The moment his voice appeared, a sharp whistle came from the black whirlwind around him. Just the old man's voice wasn't bad, but the millions of Soul Refining tribe members surrounding the capital all roared at the same time. Are you going to surrender? The roar of millions of people at once was indescribable. It was as if the world was trembling, and no thunder could compare to it. This caused the minds of the remaining soldiers inside the capital to tremble. Some of them felt something explode in their minds, and they passed out while bleeding from their orifices. "Oh Yang Hua, don't you push us too far." An angry voice came out from the wall, then a big fellow in armor appeared. This armor looked like a scorpion, and his eyes were bloodshot. Hatred filled his eyes as he rushed out, but not toward Ouyang Hua. Instead, he charged toward the black stone statue among the crowd. "Even if I die, I'm going to destroy this thing." The big fellow was too fast. He arrived next to the statue in an instant. He raised his hand and smashed down with a roar. However, what was strange was that all the surrounding Soul Refining tribe members revealed looks of mockery. Even Ouyang Hua sneered and didn't try to stop him. The moment the big fellow's hand smashed down, an extremely cold voice echoed in his ears. "You dare to harm the statue of my lord? Die?" An extremely ordinary man moved along with that voice. This man wore a black robe and had an extremely cold expression. If anyone knew Wang Lin, they would be shocked because this person's temperament was about 60% to 70% similar to Wang Lin's. This man walked forward and causally threw a punch. At this moment, Countless soul fragments came out of his body and entered his fist, creating a storm. This powerful storm quickly smashed into the big fellow. The big fellow coughed out a mouthful of blood and the armor on his body broke inch by inch. There was also the sound of his bones breaking coming from inside his body. The strongest member of the soul refining tribe, 13. The big fellow let out a bitter smile as his body shattered. He was already out of power, and now that he had received a seriously injury, he immediately died. Oyenghua laughed, then he pointed at the capital of the fire demon country and said, "Soul extinguish." After he spoke, the millions of tribe members took out their soul flags and boundless souls rushed out, covering the entire capital of the fire demon country in black fog. This black fog slowly closed in on the capital. Surrender, a woman wearing blue armor on the wall of the capital of the fire demon countryside. At this moment, the fire demon country became the capital of the soul refining tribe. The soul refining tribe had become one of the 9 powers of the demon spirit land. The black statue would be placed where the ancient demon statue was and become the spiritual foundation for the soul refining tribe. Just as 13 raised his feet to walk toward the capital, his body trembled violently and his cold expression collapsed. It was replaced with excitement he hadn't felt for hundreds of years, and he suddenly raised his head. Ancestor has returned. At this instant, the sky above the demon spirit land went through a shocking change. Layers of vortexes appeared in the sky as if they were going to tear the heavens apart. This sudden change caused the inhabitants of the demon spirit land to panic, and they all looked at the sky. The vortex spread in the sky until it almost covered the entire sky above the demon spirit land. The vortex rotated rapidly like a storm that descended from the heavens. In the demon spirit land, there was a deep gully in the wood demon country. This area was very remote, and the depths of the ravine were filled with moss. The area was very humid, and in the early morning, it was usually covered in dense fog. At this moment, there was faint mist that still remained but slowly disappeared under the sun. As the mist gradually dissipated, a pool of water at the bottom became visible. This pool was like the surface of a mirror, there weren't any ripples at all. However, when the vortex appeared, ripples appeared in this pool of water. And something slowly came out from the center of the ripples. At first it wasn't possible to see what it was, but as it became more clear, it was obvious that it was a face. This was a demonic face. That handsomeness was not something a person could have, especially the dark light coming from his eyes. He quietly looked at the sky and revealed a demonic smile. "You finally came. I have waited a very long time for this day." At this moment, far in the other side of the demon spirit land, there was a grassy plain. There were some flowers on this plain, and before one even got close, they could smell the fragrance of the grass. This fragrance was very faint, but it had a very strange effect. Whenever someone from the demon spirit land smelled it, they would feel relaxed. As a result, over time, many tribes appeared on this plain. The soul refining tribe had expanded here as well, but what was strange was that the soul flags would immediately lose some of their power here. It was as if the soul fragments inside didn't dare to come out. If forced to come out, the soul fragments would quickly dissipate one by one. As a result, the soul refining tribe gave up on this place. If one looked from above, they would find this grassland to be very ordinary. However, if a restriction expert saw this, their forehead would immediately be covered in cold sweat. This place was filled with very large restrictions, and there was an unknown amount of restrictions here. If they were activated, they had the power to destroy the world. No one knew that there was an extremely ancient transfer array under this grassland. If one traced its origins, it would go back to before the celestial realm collapsed. Celestial realm formation. Through this formation, along with a special method and a token, you could enter one of the 5 celestial caves. 4 of the 5 celestial caves in the demon spirit land had been found. As for the 5th cave, no one knew where it was. Only by opening the inner part of the 4 other caves would the 5th cave be opened. The celestial cave connected to this transfer array was filled with celestial spiritual energy, and nothing inside it was ordinary. However, although it felt like the celestial realm, it looked very empty with a hint of coldness. One would cold and lonely just by standing in there. This celestial cave was zigzag-shaped and was filled with pavilions. There was a young man sitting inside a towering pagoda. He was very handsome and gave off the aura of a celestial. He was holding a scroll made of bamboo. There was a teacup on the table next to him. The heat that came from the tea turned into flowers in the air before slowly dissipating. This man would occasionally drink of the teacup, and his expression was very calm. However, the moment the vortex appeared, the man placed down the scroll and looked into the distance. It was as if his gaze could penetrate the void and see the changes outside. They came. The person who spoke was not him but a woman who walked in from outside. She was very beautiful, but a bit skinny. She had an oval face and beautiful eyes that were very charming. She wore a light blue dress with white pants that had blue embroidery on it. From a distance, she had slender legs. Although she looked weak, it made her more feminine. The man smiled as he looked tenderly at the woman and said, "We have waited so long, I hope we can succeed this time." The woman sat down on the side as she gently looked at the man and laughed. "We planned for so long. As long as we are careful, I believe there will be no accidents." The two of them smiled at each other, and the feeling of a couple filled their hearts with warmth that lingered. Even this empty cave no longer felt cold, as if a warmth had spread. This cultivation couple was the couple that never left the cave after they came. Wang Wei and Hu Huan. "How is he doing?" Wang Wei picked up the bamboo scroll. He was very handsome and didn't look old at all, as if he was really a young man. However, the pride hidden deep inside his eyes showed the glory he must have had countless years ago. Hu Huan chuckled and gently said, "This sword spirit is very determined. He has already reached the 8th layer of the immortal spirit method you gave him and is about to enter the 9th layer. If there are no accidents, he should break through soon." Wang Wei's eyes were filled with admiration as he nodded. "Is that so? Then I didn't help him in vain." As he spoke, he became a bit bleak and shook his head. "But I'm still puzzled. Is Jing Shuang not dead? Otherwise, how did she reform the Rain Celestial Sword and make him the Sword Spirit? Unfortunately, he refuses to speak, and I don't want to hurt Jing Shuang's feelings, so it would be inconvenient to search his memories." Hu Huan softly said, "Perhaps little sister Jing Shuang is still alive." The moment the vortex appeared, the pool in the ravine and the celestial cloud cultivation couple weren't the only ones to respond. A huge change occurred under the palace of the Wind Demon Country. This was the holy land of the Wind Demon Country. There was a vast expanse of caves that resembled a honeycomb underground, with the capital of the Wind Demon Country as the center. Every single cave had many tunnels that linked them together. Eventually, all of them would lead to the large cave under the Imperial Palace. These caves were filled with skeletons that were blackish-purple and gave off death aura. The moment the death aura appeared, it would be sucked away by the tunnels connected to the caves. All the death aura in the countless caves throughout the Wind Demon Country would all lead to the cave under the Imperial Palace. This cave was very large, at least 10,000 feet wide. At the center of the cave was a towering pillar, and a woman sat on top the pillar. This woman's appearance was extremely terrifying. There were numerous hideous scars on her face. It was impossible to count how many wounds there were at a glance. Although those wounds had closed, blood rushed into them when she cultivated, so they had become red. It was as if countless centipedes were crawling on her face. Not only her face, but even her arms were covered in these hideous scars. There was a sea of death aura under the pillar the woman was sitting on. Some of the death aura would float up around her and enter her scars. Every time this happened, the woman's body would tremble as if she was facing unbearable pain, but she would always clench her teeth and endure it. "Wang Lin, Yao Shishue, had to endure all this pain because of you. I hate that I can't eat your flesh to avenge my father. As long as I can kill you, what does this pain count as? If I can kill you, so what if I gave up my appearance?" The woman's eyes were filled with monstrous resentment. She could never forget the sense of helplessness she had for her father's crisis when she awakened in the demon spirit land. Then she suddenly felt a pain in heart, letting her know through her blood connection that it was likely that her father didn't survive. At that point, a hatred for Wang Lin almost reached a peak. In order to get revenge, she gave up everything. She knew that in order to increase her cultivation level, she needed help from the ancient demon here. She worked very hard and experienced hardships and humiliation that were like nightmares. In the end, she obtained the recognition of the ancient demon of the Wind Demon country. She entered here and began an inheritance. She could never forget the moment she accepted the Wind Demon's inheritance, the demonic voice that echoed in her heart. I can give you strength, enough power to let you get revenge. However, the price is that your divine sense and soul will slowly be erased until you become my body. I'm willing as long as I can get revenge. Yao Shishue took a deep breath and began to absorb this death aura, causing her enough pain to wish she was dead. As she absorbed it, she raised her right hand, which was completely blue, and her fingernails emitted a cold glint. After taking a deep breath, she mercilessly cut open a wound on her left arm. Intense pain came from her arm, causing her body to tremble, but her expression was indifferent as she had long grown accustomed to the pain. At this moment, endless amounts of death aura entered the wound on her arm. As the endless death aura continued to enter, the wound gradually closed until it formed a scar. Wang Lin, I'll never let you go. The cry from her soul was like a storm that filled the heavens. This video will end here.